Hi everyone, I hope you're keeping well. Well, me and Jarvis finally deliberated on the best team of the 1970s. And I have to say to you, it has been a really difficult thing to do with so many fine players over that period. Of course, we had the Parkside era up to 1973, and then the Greyhound Stadium right up to the end of the decade when the club moved to Welland Road on the football ground. So quite a difficult year, but a lot of good players during that time, and it has been very difficult to pick the 13 players plus the subs. Now the way we've done it is that I'm going to report on the backs and Peter's going to do the forwards. There's no particular reason for that other than the fact that before I stuck my head in the pack, I was a flying wingman. So in theory, I should know a little bit more. The chances are that I don't. But I hope I don't upset too many of my friends or too many of the supporters in the choices. Right, fullback. Now this was probably the most difficult one for me, actually. My first thought was David Marshall, who was a fine fullback, fine defensive fullback and a fantastic goal kicker. I know that certainly when I was at Parkside, he was one of the players that you looked up to. Very calming influence on the field, and he certainly was a fine player. And then there's Paul Breers. Paul Breers played nearly 200 games for Hunslet. Started off in the centre and then moved to fullback and was a regular player, an excellent player. But I've gone for Gary Campbell. Well, Gary actually only played 22 games for Hunslet before, New Hunslet, before he went to Hull. He scored half a dozen tries, but he was a fantastic attacking fullback, and of course he went on to great things in the game and playing for New Zealand as well. Short period of games, but dynamic, and I know he was very popular with the supporters. So my fullback is Gary Campbell. Now for the wingers. Well, I didn't have to think too much about the first one, so I won't keep you in suspense for too long, but to say it's Peter Muscroft. What a player Peter was. Fast as lightning. And what about those tries he scored at the Greyhound Stadium where he'd kick it over the top of the fullback and easily outpace him and score? Very difficult on the Greyhound Stadium. It was a bit boggy and it was very narrow as well. But Peter Muscroft was an absolutely fantastic wingman. It's a shame that he left Hunslet, went to Hull Kingston, but what a player he was. So he's the first one. The second one was much more difficult really, and I had it between two players really, both ex-Parksiders. Jack Richardson, who was very good wingman, and it was a shame really that Jack actually left Hunslet. He didn't want to go, he wasn't getting opportunities, and he decided to go to Batley, and to show what a good footballer he was, he played quite a number of games in the centre as well, and then of course he went on to be a fine coach at East Leeds Amateur Rugby League Club. So Jack was in there, and then there's Barry Lee. Barry Lee, a legend of Hunslet, played in the Wembley final 1965, but he did stay loyal with Hunslet. He played at Parkside pretty much to the end, and he did have one or two games at the Greyhound Stadium. So a bit of a toss-up, and I've decided to go for Barry Lee. So my wingers are Peter Muscroft and Barry Lee. Now the centres. I picked my first one fairly easily really because it's George Clark. I thought George was an absolutely fantastic centre. Loads of pace, very, very good for his wingman, creating opportunities. And he was in the Parkside days. Sadly, we didn't see him at the Graham Stadium very long. He moved to Hull, where he had quite a successful career. So my first one is George Clark. I then had to deliberate on the other one, and I had two or three in it really. I had Steve Barron, who was a loyal player for Hunslet, who played in the centre, but he also played on the wing as well. And then there was Stuart Smith, who I thought was a fantastic player, but Stuart was quite often in the centre and then also in the second row, and I think probably he was a better player in the second row, but either way, he would never let the side down, so he was in there. But who I've gone with is Mick Parrish. Great goal kicker, scores tries and goals, and in fact I think I might be right in saying that in 2 seasons during his career he scored in every game. Certainly a match winner, so I've gone for Mick Parrish also. So my centres are George Clark and Mick Parrish. Stand off, number 6. Well, I had 2 to pick from, 2 that came to mind more than anybody else really. One was Stevie Lane and the other one was Bob Gately. And I've decided to go for Bob Gately. Good goal kicker, very, very talented. Should have played more games, should have had an even better career, I think, because he was massively talented. But very creative as well was Bob Gately. Scrum half, number 7. Well, there's been a number of number 7s over the decade. In the Parkside days, we had Phil Horrocks, and vying for that position with him was Peter Rycroft, the general. 2 very, very good scrum halves. Both came to the Graham Stadium, but unfortunately didn't stay around very long. And then we had a series of other scrum halves coming in with Roy Appleyard, Dickie Brown, Danny Hargrave, even Paul Daly had 2 or 3 games. But for me, the best number 7 was Tony Dean. Tremendous character, fantastic in the dressing room, fantastic on the pitch, and a tremendous record. And he actually played 88 games for Hunslet, New Hunslet, and amongst that there was 34 drop goals. So he was certainly a master of that art. Sadly, he's no longer with us, is Tony. He died quite young. But I thought he was a tremendous scrum half, and he went on to play very, very well at Hull, and he had a fantastic career. So my number 7 is Tony Dean. Now for the substitute, number 14. And I've gone for Stuart Smith. I think it's a pretty obvious choice really, because as I said earlier, Stuart could play either in the backs or the forwards. Could stick him anywhere, probably. And that's certainly what you needed for a substitute then, in those days, and even now. So my number 14, Stuart Smith.
Hello everybody, I'm Peter Jarvis. I hope you're keeping fit and well. Ken has already given you the backs lineup that we selected. Now it's my job to announce the forwards. In selecting the forwards, we have to remember that in the 70s, all scrums were contested. No packing down for a rest, just pure hard work. Let's start with the front row. At number 8, open side prop, I would go for Jeff Cruxon, also known to his pals as Skin. The open side prop is a very important position in the scrum. He has the experience to boss the scrum and help his hooker to win the fair share of ball. He would be one of my piano carriers. He's also a very skillful player in the loose, very good at man management, respected by his teammates and the opposition alike. Bearing all that in mind, I would choose Jeff as my captain. Number 10, blindside prop, George Standage, the enforcer of the team. Every team needs one. A great piano carrier, a very experienced forward, both in attack and defence. George is guaranteed to give you 100% for the full 80 minutes, and longer if need be. He definitely would be one of the first names on the team sheet. Didn't earn the title of Hunslet's secret weapon for nothing. Right, number 9, the hooker. Some good names for this position, the likes of Peter Dunn, Louis Cardis, Tiger Hansford. But I've gone for Alan Maskell. Sadly, Alan's no longer with us. But with Alan, he will guarantee to win more than his fair share of the balls from the scrum. He's a lovely pair of hands, very safe. Good passer of the ball from acting half back, always hit the breadbasket. Very energetic in the loose, his support play was first class. Did more than his fair share of defending. And like all good number 9s, Alan never stopped talking. In choosing the two to play in the second row, we needed to pair up one that is quality in defence and the other one a quality attacking player. Of course, I would expect both of them to work hard in defence and attack. At number 11 would be Jimmy Crampton. In the current game we hear of different defensive plans, but if you don't want to tackle, these plans are worthless. Crampy is the ultimate tackling machine. Jeff Gunny paid a fine tribute to Jimmy by saying, "Jimmy Crampton is probably the best tackler I've ever seen." As far as I'm concerned, he is naturally fit, not afraid of hard work. He's got a safe pair of hands and carries the ball in well. Jimmy would definitely be the first man on my team sheet. To partner Jimmy in the second row, wearing the number 12 shirt, Danny Rowe. He's a brainy player, works hard the full 80 minutes, strong enough to burst a tackle and make the break, and has the pace to finish it. Good supportive player, consistent in every game, and does more than his fair share in defence. Number 13, loose forward, Alan Griffiths, the complete player, an out and out loose forward. He's unflappable, the playmaker. If the game plan is not working, he has the ability to change it accordingly. First class ball handler, loves running with the pill in his hand, good at evading the tackle, plus he's got plenty of fire in his belly. Definitely the piano player of the side, Griff. Substitute forward number 15. A few names for this position, but after careful thought I've selected Ken Sykes. The reason being, he's a good experienced forward, and if he was needed to go on, he is capable of playing in any position in the pack. Therefore, there'd be no need in making multi-positional changes. After much deliberation and soul searching, that's Ken's and my team of the 70s. There's been some great players who haven't made the team, but we appreciate it's a game of opinions. I will put this team up against any from that era. Let's see what the 80s bring, but I'm not going to get involved in that one.